Hey everybody, welcome back. Another episode here, Banish the Doubt. I am George McNamara. And in this video, what I want to talk about is the two different types of control, objective and subjective, and the difference between them. It's not about, though, controlling anything. It's about seeing yourself in each and every moment, how you see yourself. Because how you see yourself in each and every moment is being reflected in your world. When I say your world, I mean your reality. Your reality is what you say it is in each and every moment. I want to read a quote from Neville Goddard talking about how we see our world and how we unconsciously continue to create the events and attract the people into it. So he says here, if you find yourself carrying on any negative conversation, break it. If you find yourself carrying on any type of negative conversation, break it. Because even though it gives you pleasure, right, as it does many people, they find such fun in being criticizing anybody or anything. Okay, they think they are alone and no one sees them, so that it doesn't matter. But it's not about anybody else seeing us. It's a reflection of how we see ourselves. I heard it said, I think it may have been in the book How to Win Friends and Influence People. Um, the author talked about, I don't know, it was somebody from the ancient times or what have you, but it went like this. It said, everybody that I meet is my master, in that I learned something from them. And it's very profound because it is true, because they are teaching us in that moment about ourselves. So especially the people that maybe we want to criticize, or especially the people that we see things as negative. I have found in my life the biggest, the people who really pushed my buttons the most were the ones who taught me the most, because they taught me about myself, how I was seeing, not the world. And that's how I was led to believe. Look outward. How do you see reality? It's never about that. It is about seeing how I see myself in the objective, how I objectify myself. So the um, objectively seeing the world versus subjectively seeing the world. So how when we go around and we look at the world and we compare ourselves to the world, we're objectifying. We're being objective about myself. Subjectively is mine. I am is subjective in every moment. What am I learning in each moment? My interaction with a person. What are they teaching me? You see, because the more we become aware of what we're thinking in each moment, the more we become aware of how we're thinking or seeing ourselves in each moment, that realization, that awareness is being sent out and being reflected back to us. So the more we can see ourselves as I am, that I am perfect, whole, and enough and deserving. These assumptions that I have about myself are being sent out and being reflected back to us by these messengers. So everybody in your world, everybody in your reality is your messenger, messaging back to you how you see yourself. And as you start to change, not so much change, but as you start to become more aware, become more subjective in your daily life, the people, the events, the circumstances change. to reflect. This is how I'm seeing myself. This is how I'm choosing to see myself in each and every moment. There is nothing or nobody to change but self. This is how we go through our life. Because in each moment, regardless of whether or not we're being aware or not, we are changing. And we're either going through life like this, where it's fun to criticize. You see, because here's the thing about this negative stuff. When we're trying to change, and we see this playing out a lot, right, in society today, when we're trying to change another, we're trying to make points. In that moment, we get a hit of dopamine. And it feels good, right? But it's temporary. And then it goes away. And then we need it again. We need that feel good hit. It's why people who are addicted to substances, and not necessarily just alcohol or drugs, but drugs are sort of an overarching term. Sugar, coffee, well, obviously alcohol. It's because in that fleeting moment, we get this feel good. We feel good. We get this adrenaline. But when it goes away, we need more. But the ultimate feel good drug is the awareness within that moment and say, no, I am enough. You'll notice when things start to change is when you start picking up on, oh, wait a minute, that's the old me talking that way, being negative. Or that's the old me reaching for the sugar or I'm not saying you shouldn't drink coffee, enjoy it, but the extras, cups of coffee or the extra glass of wine or whatever it may be, the moment you start to say, wait a minute, no, I am enough. The way I don't need substance to make me feel better about me. That's when you start noticing, that's when the convictions, that's when those feelings start to take place. You start feeling different about yourself. And then it sort of multiplies on top of each other. Starts to build this foundation, or starts to not so much build a foundation. It starts to show us because if everything's fit. Creation is finished, so you start to see that foundation that's always been there. We're starting to recognize and stand on that and say, no, this is who I am at my core. So just to recap, in each moment, our reality, yours is different than mine, is reflecting back to us exactly who we are based on the assumptions within us. The people who trigger us the most are our greatest teachers, for they reflect in us, or they have us become aware of who we are in that moment. Objective versus subjective control. I'm now focusing on the subjective control. Mine is mine. I am. This is how we start to understand who we've been and attach or recognize that person that's always been there. We're just allowing ourselves to recognize that and say, yes, this is who I am. I am that I am. And that's it. There is no greater law. There is nothing else that we need in this world. Anytime we try to control and this is part of control, or try to convince somebody anything else, we are actually trying to convince ourselves, not them. We never change them. Change ourselves, and then they reflect that change. Have a great day.